Hi, I'm Wesley and welcome again to another episode of Cooking for the Yum of It. Today we are going to be doing an oven-blackened pulled pork, which is something I'm preparing specifically for the leftovers, which I'm going to be using for another recipe next time. But for now, let's get started with our pulled pork. Now the first thing I need to do is set the oven for 300, preheat the oven to 300 degrees. Now while the oven is preheating, we are next going to get the blackening seasoning blend done. Okay. Need to get some, forgot to take off the Now for that, we're going to start with half a teaspoon ground black pepper. Next we need, now the recipe originally called for half a teaspoon of white pepper, but I was not able to find that in the store. So a little research, this is going to be an interesting thing for me. After a little research, I discovered that ground ginger makes an acceptable substitute. So we'll be adding half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now we need 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You may remember from a previous episode, I mentioned how cayenne is one of the hottest of the peppers. So far no one's decided to correct me, so maybe I was right. Now we need 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Lovely garlic powder. Garlic is good for you. You really can never have too much garlic in your food. And 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Now we take a fork and we try to get that as blended together as we can. Now we go on to our next step. For our next step, we need to peel and slice, not dice, but slice 1 onion. Try to we'll put our sliced onion here in our breaking up our rings, which gives me a thought of maybe in a future episode making, oh, The oven is now at 300 degrees, so that won't have to wait long. But as I was saying, finding a way to make paleo compliant onion rings. Oh. Sorry, it's the onions. At least I know it's a nice ripe onion. Oh. Okay, and we'll set the bowl of onions aside so we can do pork. Let me open my pork here. Excuse my arm. This is another recipe from the Frugal Paleo Cookbook, which, as I've mentioned before, I'm planning to cook my way through. Okay. Now, before we go on, it's very important to dry the meat so that it will brown well. Even if we're not browning it on the stovetop, but in the oven, it still works out better for us if we dry the meat. Oh yeah, nice dry meat. Now, we will set this on our bed of onions. Now, most pork roasts have at least one side, always have at least one side that is more fat than the other, and you want to have that part facing up when you do the cooking. But before we do that, we are first going to apply our seasoning blend. And you rub that in there nice and good on all the different sides. I may leave this side up because it's got most of the fat. So yeah, I'll leave that side up. I don't know why it says that in the book, but that's what it says, so that's what we're going to do. Now, I haven't heard from anyone if they've tried my recipes. I would like to hear something back from you all. If you could leave a little comment down below. But if you don't want to, I understand. Okay. A little more on this side. Oh, it smells very good. Okay, now let me just wash my hands real quick. But before we do that, I nearly forgot. We want to add a teaspoon of salt. Onions are trying to escape. Ugh. Okay, let's set the onions in the right. Now we're going to be putting this in the oven at 300, which is preheated to 300 degrees. Okay, let me see here real quick. Wow, this is going in the oven at 300 degrees. I didn't really take a very good look at this earlier. For 5 hours. Can you believe that? It's not even a slow cooker dish. So into the oven for 5 hours this goes. Okay, everyone. It has now been 5 hours. I'm going to take the... Oh, doesn't that look fantastic? And let me tell you right now, it smells it smells so good. Make sure we turn off the stove. Now the next step, we have to let this rest for 10 minutes. Once that's done, we will shred the pork, and I'm planning on having some as sort of like a soft shell taco tortilla thing. So I will see you in 10. Now it's been 10 minutes, so we are now going to wake the meat up since it's been resting. Okay. And we are going to pull the pork apart. Ooh, there it goes. I'll make sure I'm still in camera. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this, not in a slow cooker. So it's nice to know that it can be done. Let's flip this over and... Oh yeah. Oh, if only you could be here to enjoy the aroma of the meat. It is just so... I can't wait to see what it actually tastes like. Just look how easily this meat is coming apart. I mean, it's amazing. Although I do have to admit, it came apart even easier when I've done something like this in my slow cooker. But just as not everyone has a cell phone, not everyone's got a slow cooker, I suppose. Should have gotten a bigger kind of plate, but this is the biggest one I've got. Never let any morsel of the food escape. Okay. Now, I'm going to get a plate. Okay, don't want to use too much. It doesn't matter what diet you're on, paleo, keto, Whole30, whatever. If you eat too much of something, you're not going to lose weight. Oh, 1 minute. Sorry about that. What I'm going to do is take a little of the jus that accumulated and use it as sort of a little sauce. Get some of the onions in there too. Let's see how that works out. Okay, smells so good. Now we're going to see how it comes out. Oh yes. Excuse me. That is good. Again, even if I do say so myself. Remember though, as my mother always said, take small human-sized bites and chew your food completely before you swallow, because if you eat too fast, you're not going to have a good time. So anyway, that's the recipe for the blackened pulled pork. Oh, that is good. That's everything for now. I'm going to take out the amounts I'm going to need for the next recipe that I'm going to be making, which uses leftover pulled pork as the main ingredient, and set that aside. And the rest of this is going to be going to make some good lunches for the next week or so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. And until next time, always remember, eat and enjoy.